Greetings, true believers, and welcome to another villainous episode of History of the Marvel Universe. Little is known of the life of Wilson Fisk, the man now known as the Kingpin of crime. As a boy, Wilson was impoverished and unpopular. His home life was difficult as his parents were constantly arguing, and things weren't much better at school as his weight made him the subject of ridicule from his fellow children. Growing up poor with parents who loudly argued about bills, Wilson Fisk came to respect money and the power it held. When he was 12 years old, he committed his first serious crime when a man paid him to set fire to a local sweatshop. However, a maintenance worker caught Fisk in the act and seized the metal gas canister. Grabbing a hammer from the man's belt, Fisk struck the canister, spilling the gas and causing the man to drop his lit cigarette. The worker was engulfed in the ensuing explosion, which in turn started a fire that soon consumed the building. While the man who caught him was the first man that Wilson Fisk ever killed, many more perished in the blaze, some even leaping to their death to escape the flames. That day, 12-year-old Wilson Fisk made $15. He came to realize that the world was made up of the hunters and the hunted, and that power was the only true path to respect. From stolen books, he studied and learned, taking a keen interest in political science. He began to fight back against his bullies, using his size to intimidate them. He also relentlessly trained himself in personal combat, bodybuilding, and the art of sumo wrestling, which inspired an interest in Japanese culture. By the time he was 15, he had already begun his career of organizing and directing criminals, earning himself the nickname the Kingpin of crime. However, the Kingpin was smart enough not to get caught himself, always keeping himself at arm's length and investing his ill-gotten gains into legitimate businesses, and so his empire grew. Sometime during his 20s, Wilson Fisk married a woman named Vanessa, and the two had a son named Richard. Eventually, after several decades of criminality, Wilson Fisk found himself working directly under one of the most influential and powerful men in the underworld, Don Rigoletto. Rigoletto was a criminal, to be sure, but he also refused to deal in drugs or prostitution, which earned him the ire of his less scrupulous allies. And so, after getting close to Rigoletto and earning his trust, Fisk made his move, snapping the old man's neck and usurping his power and influence. After claiming the old man's position, it didn't take long for Wilson Fisk to take control of the majority of organized crime in New York City. However, while Fisk was able to avoid direct conflict with illegal authorities during his rise, his criminal activities eventually caught the attention of costumed vigilantes such as Spider-Man, Daredevil, and the Punisher. Even Fisk's own family eventually turned against him, as his son Richard took on several criminal identities, such as the Schemer and the Rose, in order to strike against his father's empire. Because of his betrayals, Richard was eventually killed by his own mother, Vanessa, who considered him a disappointment and a disgrace. This action weighed heavily on Vanessa, and soon after, when she developed a terminal illness, she refused to fight it and passed away. However, in the end, no matter how many times he is defeated or how many setbacks he faces, Wilson Fisk always finds a way to return, manipulating the criminal element and pulling strings as the Kingpin of crime. And that's the origin of the Kingpin. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like, share the video, and subscribe for more marvelous content. Be sure to leave a comment letting me know what Marvel hero or villain you want to hear about next, and as always, the issues referenced in this video are listed in the description below if you would like to read them for yourself, as well as links to other places you can find me. So until next time, true believers, Excelsior!